Thank you for tuning in to Thrive Coaching. I'm your host, Justin and Zayne. And today we're going to talk about being a spiritual leader and a role model in the household and what your roles and responsibilities are.
Yeah, I think this is a good topic to talk about right now, especially with what I kind of dealt with yesterday.
Yeah, Zayne was telling me a story as we were setting up that to most people would be like, that's kind of spooky or weird. But to me, I definitely know it's true because anytime something is going right in your life, and anytime the Lord knows you have something more, the Satan's always going to try to attack. So I'll let you kind of share that.
Yeah, so yesterday we were sitting there and it's from 3 different people. It's not like I just heard this one time. And that's where it kind of spoke to me. Like the third time, I heard it twice. And then the third time, I was like, oh, crap. It was just like, oh, crap. We were sitting there talking, and three people told me yesterday, they were like, hey, you have to realize something. Once you get married and once you bring it in and you're all together, the devil is going to attack your relationship.
Mm-hmm.
And be prepared for those battles that you're about to have to go through, not only with your spouse, but spiritually, mentally, physically. Be prepared for what's to come because it's about to come.
Yeah.
And, they always said things come in threes. And so hearing that conversation 3 times in just one day, less than a 12-hour period, I was like, crap, something's about to go down. I don't know what it is, when it's coming, how it's coming, but something's about to go down, and I have to make sure that I am able for the task.
Yeah.
And both of us, me and Kaylee. And so I was talking to her about it yesterday, and I said, hey, I don't know what's going to happen. I don't know when it's going to happen, but we're about to be tested in our relationship.
Yeah. No, I agree. And I think I've been just being married for 5 years. I'm tested every day, whether it's on social media as a husband is awesome. You get on there, all you see is half naked women on videos, everything. And it's not like I watch that stuff. So it's like they definitely target men, like marketing and all of that. What? Two is having patience, not being so quick to anger with Cambria or frustration. I mean, you're tested every single day. Satan knows what he's doing. The reason why he's out there is to still kill and destroy. And the first way to destroy somebody is take their family.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the number one. Once you take a man's family, it's about downhill from there.
Yeah, and I think this is where I can kind of piggyback off of you. Not really piggyback, but lean on you as far as this aspect in this whole conversation. Being the spiritual leader for, your wife, your kids, and all that. So as you've kind of moved into, this is going to be a 3-part question that I'm going to ask, and I really want you to answer the individual question. I'll elaborate on the other questions.
Yeah.
You don't know what they are, but the spiritual leader, what is it like to have to be a spiritual leader for your spouse and just your spouse?
Right. So I would say the number one thing about being a spiritual leader for your spouse is you have to make sure your relationship with you have to make sure your relationship with the Lord is right before you try to make theirs right or lead them in the right way. What I mean by that is if you're wanting your spouse to have some kind of relationship with God or trust or faith, or just living every day for them, seeking them, but you're not doing the things that are going to show them that example or even bring that atmosphere in their home, well, you have no shot. You can't speak one thing and do another.
Absolutely. And me learning that right now, there's been a lot of deep talks, and me and Kayla, I've been saying this on the show for a while, but we're really on the 31st is our first day of actual premarital counseling.
I do feel like y'all should have started like 2 months ago.
Talking about it, she started like 2 months ago. We're going to official date August 31st. We'll shoot a show on the 31st of July. We'll shoot a show the next day to see how it goes. But
I was going to bring Kaylee on for that one.
Yeah, we'll bring Kaylee on for that one. But with the spiritual for the spouse, is there a way that you not so much help her? Is there a way that you piggyback off of her where you say, hey, this is where you're stronger in?
Um, one thing I know I help Cambria with is having never-ending trust in the Lord. I'm not naive that that's one of my strongest suits is I literally have zero worries that the Lord's going to take care of me. That has a lot to do with my upbringing. That has a lot to do with what I've seen. I've seen things go completely downhill in my life to where my mom was about to die.
Yeah.
To where my family thrived in all areas of you can believe in life. So I'm not naive to think like, oh, everybody should just have this overwhelming faith in the Lord. It does make your relationship way easier because we'll have those ups and downs. I can lose everything tomorrow. Will I probably be stressed, worried? Yes. But one thing I do know is I've seen it happen in my own life, and I've seen people come out of it, and all the way they did was trusting in the Lord. So I would say that's one thing I have helped Cambria with is just there's no reason to worry about things like if you really do let him take full control of your marriage, your finances, your business, your friendships, your relationships, you won't really have much to worry about because guess what? He's in full control of it anyways. Like
Yeah.
he's gonna decide who's in your life. Whether you have to learn the hard way or the easy way is your choice.
What is something that she's kind of helped you with?
She's helped me. Honestly, it's not. I'm gonna sound selfish saying this. The way she's helped me the most is me not be so hard on myself. She's helped me. I struggle. I'm not struggle. It's a good thing. I get convicted very easy.
Yeah.
And she's helped me learn that it's okay. I have grace for everyone else but myself. So she's learned to help me not beat myself up because there was times where I know the difference between conviction and guilt. Guilt comes from Satan. Conviction's from the Lord. Satan will make you feel like you're nothing. Conviction makes you did something wrong.
Yeah.
But she knows that I would beat myself up and be depressed for days if I fell short or wasn't living in the world or living in the life that I know I should be living or hanging out with the wrong crowd. So she helps me with that is realizing not only that it's okay to have grace for myself, but also a lot of times I put myself in those situations. She's helped me kind of navigate around that.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that's speaking for this, man, that's what we all struggle with, you know. I mean, we all think we can do more,
Yeah.
that we're not doing enough. We just beat ourselves up for it. And we want to come to the next question is, what is a spiritual? To me, it's got to be different. I don't know. That's what I'm asking. Is there a different type of lead that you have to take for your children?
100%. Being a spiritual leader for your children is one, you have to let them know what's right and wrong. Because they're born in sin. You won't automatically you won't wake up one day and know what sin is or what's right and wrong. So the only way you can show them what's right and wrong is what they see what they see is what they're going to think is right. If my dad does this, it means it's right. If my mom does this, it means it's right. It's okay. So yeah, you have to show them what's right and wrong, and how you do that is living by it, and also you have to say in the word. Like I still love Kinsey, and it's not as a religious thing. It's not a hey, you better read your Bible, or the Lord's not going to love you or hear you. You're not going to hear your prayers. He's always going to hear your prayers. Does he have to answer? Who knows? But I say on her about staying in the word because I tell her I preach constantly right now. I tell her, Kimmy, you're about to go through the hardest days of your life. From seventh grade to future. That's Zane's Yang soundboards fall off all the time. I took a little back on track. I preach to like, Kimmy, you're going through the hardest times of your life. From now to 18, you're going to be influenced by everything in this world. If you don't have a structure or a background or a deep root of the word in your heart, you're going to get eaten out and spit in alive.
It's more about knowing, like, going off that for her and so other parents can kind of know, because I went through it way more recently than you did. It's when you're most insecure. It's when you don't really know what you want to do, who you are. You're trying to find yourself, and you can be influenced so easy with it. And that's something that I think I got instilled very young. And it was probably honestly from my mom's prayer.
Yeah.
One of the prayers she would tell me all the time is, hey, you're the head, not the tail.
You're above, not
First,
beneath.
you're above and not beneath. You're first, you're not last. That was something that my mom prayed for me constantly since I was just a little kid.
Yeah.
And knowing not necessarily your identity, I didn't know who I was or who I was going to be at that age or who I even wanted to be. But having a ground foundation to know, hey, this is wrong, this is right, and being able to pick on from that and see me grow up into the person to where some of my friends that did stuff and I was just like, no, I don't want to do that. So I think instilling that, I think it's great for the kids.
Yeah.
Letting them know.
Oh yeah, yeah. And you have to let them know, and it's okay to be. That's the one thing that I will never sugarcoat is your relationship with Christ. Never will with Kenzie, never will with anyone. You have to be real with them because at the end of the day, for one, if my kids aren't saved, it's my fault. They go to hell, it's my fault. No one else's. I don't care how old they are. If they're 40 years old and they're not living right and living in sin, it's my fault. Like,
Yeah.
I'm always gonna be there until the day that I die to make sure that they're chasing the Lord and seeking Him first. So that's the one that I'm pretty cutthroat with her about. Like, I tell her, like, hey, your most important relationship in your life is with God. Nothing else matters. You might think this matters the most, or you might want this, or you might dream of this, but until you pursue Him, none of that's going to matter. You might not get it all, you're not going to be happy. And I tell her that. And I think it's okay to be transparent about that because they need to know how real that relationship is. Because unfortunately, us growing up, we got to see it a little bit more. There were so like Christian TV shows and stuff. Now there's not many people out there on social media who are going to tell you that.
Yeah.
They were showing Lamborghinis and living in mansions and saying, I made all this money, I did this, and there's not many people out there telling them like, hey, the Lord created this, the Lord made all this happen.
Yeah.
Unless they're searching for it.
So
they're not going to be scrolling and see it.
Yeah, well, absolutely. And kind of like my third one, moving on to my third question, is your spiritual leader as a boss. Because I feel like it's different, right?
Yeah.
So I'm never press against someone about religion. I'm never going to press. To me, it's my job's to plant a seed. That's what I've always told anyone around me. I'm never going to harp it down your throat. I'm never going to try to push it, force it to you. I'm going to plant. It's my job to plant the seed. If you want to water your seed, that's up to you.
Yeah.
And that is me trying to extend a hand, plant the seed. It's up to you what you want to do.
I agree.
Even with your kids, it's that way. I feel like you have more influence with how it's laid. But in your workplace, being a spiritual leader for them, what is this? What is the look that you take into that to know? Hey,
man, one. There's two. I have a story I could tell about this for one, so I'll leave with that. There was a time where I had a guy who worked for me. He was struggling with working late, and it wasn't like a really late. He was struggling with. He was working at the church, and he was a volunteer at the church, and it got to the point where he was about to quit. And the guy's about to start a family, just got married, and I just told him, I said, hey. I sat him down. I was like, hey, man, I just want to be real with you and to be honest with you. One, do you think the way your work ethic here is and the way you hold yourself accountable and carry yourself around the other guys, do you think they see that and like, I want what he has? He's a Christian. He's excellent. Like, he's working hard. He's doing everything like Christ. No. We'll never go the bottom feeder or they're not performing well or you have bad attitude or you're lazy. People aren't going to think, oh, yes, you're a Christian. They know you're a Christian. You serve at the church. You're a youth pastor. All this stuff, but you're not going to you have to be an example in all of your life. Is what I'm trying to say. Like, if I see that, I'm not be jealous of what he has. But if I see you skipping around, happy, energetic, joyful, like, what does he have that I don't have? So that was a conversation I had with him, and I said, and by the second thing, I was like, you feel bad about working or not being able to help at the church or anything, but for two, the Bible tells you your number one thing is to take care of his bride. His bride's your wife. Like, yeah, you have to take care of your wife. You're supposed to. Our job as a male is to provide for her, our family. If lastly is how you gonna give to the church when you're not working, like taking all these time, like it's our job in the business world. It's might have gone off topic from your question, but when I think of leading, my example is teaching that stuff. And how are you going to provide for your church or bless your church when you're working 20 hours a week because you're having volunteer at the church? Like, I feel like my job as being in the industry or being in the workplace is to provide for the church. If I work for the church, then my job is to volunteer at the church, serve. But the way I serve and my life is I'm in the workplace. So I'm going to serve with my finances. Like, I'm going to take care of my church.
Yeah.
And he actually had a full different perspective after that conversation where he actually stayed on. He's killing it, and it's a complete 360 in his mindset. Like, I hate it, but I think a lot of people, a lot of churches make you feel like the only way you can serve them is by volunteering. But you can serve many other ways. Many other ways. Everyone has a purpose for the church, whether it's serving, ushering, finances. Yes, should you volunteer, actually hold doors? Yeah, but everybody has a purpose of why they're in the church. On the other spectrum is being a spiritual leader, kind of as in a leadership role, is just know everybody's watching you. They're watching how you treat people. They're watching how you talk, uh, and you might pray before meetings, but if after that you're dropping 6 f-bombs, it's not leading by example. It's not showing who your true character is. Yeah, did we slip up and cuss? Absolutely, done it multiple times. But I feel like as long as you have some kind of self-reflection and know what you did wasn't right, that's okay. But yeah, it's really just showing, like, if you're gonna speak about the Lord or they talk about your faith, then you need to lead by it. You need to treat people right, serve people right, love them. Even when you're firing them, love them. Check on them. Like, hey, I'm still here for you. If you need to call 8 companies to give you recommendations, I'm gonna call them because that's my job as a Christian, is to serve you and show you that true, like, love of Christ is.
Yeah.
Can you look at Palestine? No. I'm going to take care of you. I still talk to people to this day that don't work here or work anymore. And if they call me tomorrow, I still pick up the phone and talk to another person. And that's all people want. Is they just want someone to care about them.
Yeah. Absolutely. There's a couple parts that I wanted to talk about as far as.
Sorry, I was long-winded.
No, you're good. There's a couple parts that I want to kind of break down on you with that, because to me, you kind of showed your example. And I was talking to a guy yesterday, and we were sitting there talking, and we both know. I mean, I cuss, me and you do. You really don't.
Yeah, I was at your bachelor party. I felt like when I said that. I told Cambria, I was like, man, those kids cuss like sailors. I was like, the Lord says, you didn't pass my point.
No, but he was sitting there talking to me, and he was talking to me about church, and he said, I don't want you to think that I'm judging you because of your cussing. And he said, man, to be honest with you, even if you did, I wouldn't care.
Yeah. I'm 100% that way. I'm not religious.
No, he kind of looked with me. He kind of looked at me, and I said, man, you sin every day, don't you? And he looked at me and said, yeah. I said, I sin every day. I said, if you consider cussing a sin, that's fine. I said, I know the tongue has power.
Yeah.
But you're not my judge. And so he looked at me. He said, "That's a weird way to look at it." And I said, "I have it tattooed on me. This isn't a tattoo that that people get on them. It's Romans 3:23. Do you know it?
Partially.
It says, "For we have all sinned and fallen short of the glory of God."
Yeah.
And so as a spiritual leader, knowing, hey, I'm going to fail. I'm going to mess up. And that's what I'm trying to get into.
Yeah.
We're all going to fall short. We're all going to mess up. What are we going to do on those mess ups? I had this job today that got messed up. I went in there and I told her straight up. I said, hey, we messed up. I know we messed up. Give you an opportunity to fix it.
Yeah.
Being a spiritual leader in your home with your wife, you're going to mess up with your wife. Putting it out and getting
I do all the time.
You're going to mess up with your kids. There's days that I'm sure you feel like, oh, I'm a terrible dad. There's days where you feel, oh my gosh, I'm a terrible boss. But being a spiritual leader is knowing, hey, I am still human.
Yeah.
And to me, that's some of the most messed up part to messed up things about when you do get like a platform, right? And like big social media when they mess up. And when your parents mess up. The more I feel like the older I've gotten, the more my parents have done stuff, I've been like, do I agree with it? No, but do I understand it? Yeah.
Yeah. No, it's just having that mind and grace for people.
Yeah.
And unfortunately, unless you are, I say that there's people out there who aren't saved who have. It's not grace. There's grace comes from the Lord, but they don't hold grudges.
Mm-hmm.
But unfortunately, if you want to have true grace from somebody, you have to have a relationship with the Lord. Like, to me, the only way you know how someone truly loves you is when you think about him dying on the cross. Like, there's no other way.
Yeah.
So, I am not religious by any means. Religious people really are probably steering me the wrong way more than anything else. And do I think cussing is sin? Who knows? I know that everyone has power. Yeah, everyone has power. Only reason I think cussing is not right is because I just think it's ignorant. I think it just shows you, like,
Yeah.
when I see someone, if I thought it was a Lord's child, do I think the Lord's child would speak like that? No. Do I think the Lord would speak like that? No. But I think it's ignorant and childish. So I obviously I do it, but I just grew up. I just always thought it just people sound stupid when they cuss. Like it never was it was never part of my vocab, and I just feel like the cleaner things look, the more pure they look. That's what the Lord wants. And I don't think cussing is sin. I don't think drinking is sin. But I think when you ever do all those things that leads to sin, like you don't anything that consumes you that you can't stop is a sin. So if you cuss every day because it's out a habit or uncontrollably, then that's a sin.
Yeah.
Because that becomes down to one of the fruit of the spirits, self-control. So I think once you lose that self-control, that's when it becomes a sin.
Yeah.
Just like having sex before marriage, that's self-control. It's not obviously the act of sex is the sin, but what caused that is self-control. So like the fruit of the spirits bring you back to everything. You can tie it to a lot of sin that really it's not the act that was a sin, it's an act of lack of self-control that was a sin.
Yeah, no, absolutely.
So
I think the three big points that we hit on today is when with your spouse. With that one, you have to make sure to be more of a lead in that position. With your children, you have to be able to show them, right? And then the work kind of involves both. It's a lead and a show.
Yeah.
Most
of the work's the hardest one.
Yeah.
Because there's days where my wall still says that. There's days where it's really hard to be a spiritual leader in the workplace.
Yeah.
Like there's days where I literally have to just step away and think, put me in those shoes, Lord. So
the 3 points again, the lead, show, and then I think it's lead and show. And be there for all three. Yeah. Those are some of the three most important people that you have in your life. So
Okay. One last thing I would drop based off this episode, just kind of mic drop, is before you even think about leading people spiritually, you better make sure that for one, you're ready spiritually yourself, because nothing is worse when you're leading people in the wrong direction. So you need to make sure that you're rooted, understand what it's like to be a spiritual leader. Obviously, you're not perfect, so don't hold that against you. But if you try to lead people and they're not ready, it's gonna show real quick. You can't fake it.
absolutely.
So you can't act that you have this relationship with Christ and behind closed doors completely different. Eventually, it'll get exposed.
Yeah. That's all I got.
I know the episodes are really deep, but it's been on my heart to kind of talk about this, and it's something I'm actually passionate about. Is just being a leader of Christ. Like, there's lots of leaders out there that don't have Christ. So,
Yeah.
but until next time, thank you for tuning in. Go ahead and like and subscribe, and go check out our new merch. It's connected to our YouTube store, but you can also go to www.thrivemedia.shop and get some nice merch. We either have Thrive Media merch and we have Thrive Coaching merch.
Didn't even invent it. Bye.
Later.